What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Unworthy Motors. Today is going to be wash day on the M4, which means it's a perfect opportunity to give you guys a little product review. Now, in the past, I've worked with a company called GT Shine, which they make drying towels for auto enthusiasts. I did a review on one of their old towels and they actually reached out to see if I wanted to do a new video. They have an upgraded drying towel that they wanted me to test out and get my opinion on. So today, I'm going to be doing that and I'm going to compare what the specs are for the new towel to the old towel, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into the video. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I have the two GT Twist drying towels by GT Shine here on my shoulders. We have our old version right here that I've already done a video on, which if you haven't seen, I will have linked up here at the top. And we have their new and improved drying towel here on my right shoulder. Let's start with the previous drying towel. So this is their previous GT Twist drying towel, which as you can see, it's pretty good sized. And it has your plush microfiber on one side, and then the reverse side, it's a little bit more of a solid towel feel, a little bit better grip on your hands, maybe better for maybe some scrubbing to get some little bits of something off. I actually carry this drying towel with me anytime that I go on a trip because it's always useful to have, mostly because of its size as well as for its drying capabilities. When I go to a car show, say in New Jersey for the Key Show, or if I go down to Orlando, down to the BMW Invasion show, I'll usually have it with me as a backup. You guys know, if you watch my channel, I actually prefer drying with a leaf blower of some sort just to make sure that we're getting all of the water out of the nooks and crannies that a towel can't get to. I also think it's a little bit better to not touch the surface. So I would say my opinion would be that these would be a good backup. I wouldn't necessarily, in my opinion, use one for a main use to dry the car because I prefer not to touch the paint if I don't have to, because anytime you touch the paint, you're scratching it. You can ask any detailer. So with that aside, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the differences between the first one and the second one. So here is the new and improved GT Twist drying towel. First thing that you're gonna notice is the size. The size on this one, you're looking at about 1/3 of the size, but you have plush material on both sides. Now, talking about it from a quality standpoint or from a construction standpoint, the previous drying towel is about 500 GSMs, which means about grams per square meter. The new drying towel, on the other hand, is two 700 GSM towels stitched together. So you're looking at 1,400 GSMs or grams per square meter in this new towel. So while this towel may be much smaller, it's actually in return, in theory, supposed to absorb more water than the bigger one. It's also much plusher. You can really tell the difference when you hold onto this. It is much thicker. Another point to make is on the previous generation of the GT Twist drying towel, one side, as I mentioned, is this, it's kind of like the underside of fabric. I wouldn't really want to use this because I think it's part polyester on the paint itself, while the new GT Twist is actually plush on both sides. So that, I would say, is a huge benefit because you really only want to use the plush side of this on the paint. You don't really want to use the rough side on the paint. One point that I don't like about these towels is they're not edgeless. So if you're into detailing and you're a car enthusiast in general, you should know that edgeless towels are the way to go. These edges here are not always made of great materials, and sometimes even the stitching that is put in here to stitch this closed can cause minor types of micro swirls, minor scratches. I mean, for a non-car enthusiast, you're probably fine. For a car enthusiast, these are things that we're gonna notice. Little tiny micro scratches. Of the edges that I have seen on towels, this is probably okay. I'd have to know exactly what this specific material is made of to be sure. But another negative is they do have this tag right on here, which you can probably just rip off just to make sure that this isn't scratching your paint of any kind. That's kind of my comparison between the two. You're looking at 500 GSM on the previous towel, and you're looking at 1,400 on the new one. That is a pretty big jump, and it's because it is twice the thickness. you're looking at two 700 GSM towels that are stitched together. So we're actually gonna be testing today on the M4 whether we can dry the entire car without wringing this out. So we're gonna attempt. Now the car itself is ceramic coated, so it does wick away a little bit of water, but we're gonna try to keep it as wet as possible and make sure that we're doing an accurate demonstration. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump into it. I've got my pressure washer set up with my foam cannon. We're gonna do an initial spray with my Big Mouth Chemical Guys foam cannon and my Greenworks electric pressure washer. We're gonna do an official coat of foam across the car. We're gonna let it eat, as I would say, for a little bit. Let the soap eat into the dirt and start to drag it down the car. We're gonna do one first rinse, and then we're gonna coat the car in foam again. We're gonna actually wash it from that standpoint, and then after that, then we will get forward with the drying. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a time lapse real quick of us washing the car and get that out of the way. If you guys are interested in any of the stuff that I use to keep the car clean and maintain the paint, I have everything linked down in the description, including the GT Twist as well. Huge shout out to GT Shine for doing this, and I really appreciate them sending it out so quickly. All right, so the M4 is completely clean now. Next step is I'm gonna go ahead and rinse it one more time just to make sure that the entire surface is as wet as possible. And then we're gonna go back with the brand new GT Twist and we're gonna put it to the test. Their website states that you can dry an entire SUV without wringing this thing out. Let's see if we can do the whole M4 without wringing this thing out. I'm a little skeptical. Let's see. All right, guys, let's talk about it. So as you saw, I soaked the entire car with water to make sure that I was exemplifying what it would be like if someone took the GT Twist immediately after washing the car to dry it. About halfway through drying the car, though, I did end up having to wring it out. I was simply mopping water across the trunk. So on their website, they do state that this can dry an entire SUV without having to be wrung out. I can't say that I agree with that statement. I did end up having to wring it out a total of 3 times to feel comfortable in drying the car with this, and even then I still felt like it was extremely waterlogged and it was pushing the water around more than it was drying the surface. I did continue to wring it out as much as I needed to get the entire car dry, and I did go across the entire car about twice. After doing so, I did make sure that I went back to check for a quality control standpoint. Now, when these companies send me products, I want to make sure that I'm still giving an honest review. So I went back to make sure that everything was as stated. Unfortunately, their website does state that this leaves a streak-free dry surface. These streaks were awful. I'm gonna put some videos up here of the streaks, but I first noticed them on the driver's side windows, followed that now to notice them on the trunk and on the back glass, to which I noticed the hood and the roof. Very bad streaks. So much so that I actually just finished re-washing the entire car. So I ended up having to wash the whole car just to get rid of all the streaks. And I went back with my tried and true afterwards, which is my Ego 765 CFM leaf blower, which is one of the highest power leaf blowers you can get on the market nowadays. It does help out a lot with all of the nooks and crannies. This is a very thick towel. I can only get in about 90% of the body panels. Granted, the M4 does have a very aggressive body, a lot of really sharp corners, And as you can see, even on the front bumper, there's a lot of spots the drying towel simply isn't going to reach, where the leaf blower is going to come in to have that advantage. Overall, I think my rating for the GT Twist, based on everything that I've seen today, is I would rate this a 3 out of 10, only because of this really bad streaks and the fact that it did not hold enough water to be able to dry the entire car without leaving any type of watermarks or having to be wrung out. So that is something I would say that is a big negative. Now, I will say, to their point, it is a very high quality drying towel. Now, I've used everything from drying towels, squeegees, chamois, solvents to help dry the car. I've used leaf blowers. I've used just about everything over the last 10 years of me detailing cars. I will say this is one of the best drying towels that I have come across, and it is why I still have the first one in my go bag. Whenever I go to car shows out of town, I take it with me as a backup. I use my leaf blower, which is my tried and true, and I use that to cover the entire car. And then anything, especially if you're a BMW owner, you'll know when the mirrors drop water across the side of the car, I go back with a GT Twist and get all of those little bits of water. This towel is great for that, and that's why I still would recommend it. Just as a secondary, I would not suggest this as a sole tool to dry the car. I am very pro leaf blower. Now, leaf blower, of course, is in a completely different bracket for price. My leaf blower is about $300. GT Twist is around 20 bucks. So that does carry some weight in its actual usefulness. GT Shine as a company has been great. Their customer service is awesome. They've worked with me, as like I said, in the past on the first GT Twist, as well as sending this one out extremely quick. So I have to extend, of course, a big thank you to them for sending it out as quick as they did. And their customer service, like I mentioned, is really great. If you would like to pick up one of these as a drying source, I will have it linked down in the description. Everything else that I use also to keep and detail the car and keep the paint in perfect condition, including the Ego leaf blower that I currently use as my primary source of drying, will all be linked down in the description if you guys need any links for those. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to go down and click the like button, subscribe to the channel for future content. As always, you guys know, I appreciate you guys watching. That's all I got for you guys today. Love y'all. I'll see y'all in the next video.